everyone, and welcome. My name is Kyle FtW, and welcome back to another Call of Duty Vanguard video. Today we are back with another episode of my map guides here within the game, and today we're taking a look at the map Bocage here in the game. And as you guys know, as usual, I go ahead and show you guys the mini map and everything like that. But instead of doing what I did in the last episode, which is show you guys all of the routes where a lot of the action goes down at the end of the video, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that right now so you guys can get a pretty early overview about what this map is going to be like. So this is one of the smaller maps in the game, and frankly and honestly, this is one of my favorite maps in the game. I really do like it. It feels a lot like a normal 6v6 map. It looks bigger than it is. It looks a little bit more complicated than it is. And overall, I just really like this map, to be completely honest. So starting off here with the very first, common, most high traffic area, we have ourselves the building where the red circle is right now. This is where a lot of the action happens. Pretty much most of the action happens. There's a whole lot of entrances and exits to it, but once inside this building and you run out of it, you're going to get into a lot of action. We also have the building right across the street from it, which you can see right now, where a lot of action goes down. And then finally, we have over to where the little circle is in the tank, by the tank where I am right now. Those are the three most popular areas of the map. There's actually a fourth one by those two little buildings where the red circle is right now. Again, the best way for me is to show you where the red circles are. And then now, what I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to do a blue square to indicate where the spawn points are that I know of. So obviously you guys see where I am spawning right now, but there's also a spawn point over on the other side of the map, and those are pretty much the only two spawn points on this map, which is very cool. So now that those are all out of the way, we'll go ahead and jump into the full map guide where we walk around the map and do the usual things. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and head over to the right side, and then we'll go all the way around and then head through the middle, and then we'll go back that way at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and get into this. So starting off here with the first thing you can do, you can go ahead and jump up. You can't jump up on these, or you can actually jump up on these tanks and get a line of sight to enemies that are over on B right there, as well as enemies that are in that window, and enemies that are, coming through that destructible environment there, that window there, that destructible environment there, and then of course right there. And I can even get a line of sight to enemies that are coming from over there to that spawn, which is obviously pretty useful. Now coming over here, this fence is once again a destructible environment. Any sort of brown brown wood objects, I should say, most of the time they're destructible environments. So obviously by destroying this, I can get a mount position over to the B flag right there, which is obviously very useful. Now coming over to here, I can climb up this ladder and get an overview all the way over to that point there, which is obviously very useful. And then I can also come out to the edge here and then get enemies that are coming through there, and maybe even enemies that are in that destructible environment right there, which is super effective as well. Peeking myself out here is a little bit risky, but you can do that for sure, and it really benefits you. Now, one thing of note also is that this map actually goes quite a bit over to the left. I didn't even know that this spot existed for a while, but obviously that's why before I made these map guide videos, I played 10 games on this map. But you can actually go all the way around and come right here, and then get a line of sight over to that destructible environment there, and that window over there, and even enemies that are capturing B in that corner. It's really useful. I have gotten killed here from enemies standing up here quite a bit, and overall it's one of the more sneaky areas of this map. Obviously I am kind of sticking out like a sore thumb here, but if I do drop down, I can still get a line of sight to enemies that are capturing B, but I'm not as out in the open, which is always pretty useful, and you can't jump on that. Now jumping over here real quick, we're not going to cover this side of the map, but you can run underground here, which is pretty useful in some cases, especially because some enemies still don't know that this is a thing that you can do. So you can come up here, get a quick kill, run back down, and then run through this tunnel once again. And again, that is also super useful. Continuing on here, now with this route of the map, we can go up here as well. There's a car right here that you can use as cover if you so wish. Again, the B objective is right here. It's actually right there, but you can capture it from right here, which is always useful. And again, just being up here, you can actually shoot enemies through the car right here. If you get a perfect line of sight, you can also get a line of sight to enemies that are up there and enemies that are coming from that barn by shooting them through the car. And what's great about shooting them through the car is that you are pretty much hidden, so they won't really know you're there until, unless they see your red name, which again is pretty awesome. Now coming back over here, this isn't really a super popular area of the map. This is kind of a route that lets you get to those buildings right there. So in all reality, This is actually probably one of the better places for long shots in the game. I think this is one of the more long lines of sights here. I mean, I can, get a long shot to the enemies that are up there, as well as enemies that are up there. So honestly, I spend a lot, whenever I am going for long shots, when I do my long shot challenges, I'm going to be spending a lot of time right here as well. Now coming back here, this is obviously, again, one of the other spawn points, which is right here. And then there is a spawn point in this little building right here as well. I think you spawn right here in the stable area. So again, just keep that in mind as well. And again, this lets you get a line of sight to enemies in this barn right here, as well as up there, which we'll get into right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and head into the middle of the map here. Also, you can come up here and you can get honestly a really nasty head glitch up to enemies that are at the little door there, as well as in that destructible environment there. It's honestly really, really good because look how little of my head is showing. In fact, the only thing that really is over here is the top of my head and my weapon barrel, which is, again, very, very useful. Now back here, you can kind of just go prone and call in a streak here. Again, really not a lot happens back here, but again, going this way, you can get over to that other route I showed you guys earlier that gives you that really, long shot area. But other than that, it doesn't really have any use. Now coming over through here, we have ourselves the middle route. Now this is where a lot of action happens. I did do a blue square right here. Oh, there's chickens. Hello, chickens. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. Anyways, this is a pretty useful area as well, again, but this is dangerous because it is the middle of the map. And again, a common theme of all of my map guide videos, which I say every single time, is don't ever go to the middle of the map. It's really, really risky. Again, running through the middle of the map, you may be able to get away with 1 or 2 kills, but then you instantly got to run away because it's just not useful. It's dangerous. It always is, because there's so many different lines of sight to get shot from that it's never wise to spend time in the middle. So there's a few things you can do. You can either run through the middle here and go right there, or again, you can use the head glitch I showed you guys earlier, or I can run through here, go over this way, and then I get into a safer area. But you have to be careful of enemies here, because again, I did show you guys that this is where a lot of the action goes down and a lot of gunfights happen. So the barn here is one of the more, I would say that it is one of the better parts of the map to kind of get a big overview. One of the first bits of destructible environments for this map is right here. This basically doesn't really have that much of a purpose. The only purpose that this really has is to get a line of sight to enemies coming through the barn there, as well as as well as enemies that are camping there. Other than that, really not useful. You can't come up here from anywhere else. So it's basically just a climb up on these hay bales, jump down, maybe get a kill, and then go down there. You can also go around this edge, which I guess is showing off this area. But to be completely honest, the left lane of the map really isn't anything to cover too heavily. Just be aware of enemies head glitching on the tank there, enemies head glitching on the tank there, and enemies that are over here. But luckily, if you're up here, you have a pretty easy line of sight. Also coming up here in the barn, this gives me that line of sight to be one of the opposite ones. Again, keep in mind that there could be an enemy head glitching right there, which is a little bit of a lower line of sight. And then, of course, enemies are down there as well. So again, the barn, I honestly spend a lot of time up here in this barn because it gives me quite a few really useful line of sights. But again, I don't spend a lot of time here. This is also, by crouching here, you get a line of sight to enemies that are coming from this spawn point, which is really, really useful. I actually use this all the time. I will jump up here, get a few kills, and then come back down and wait for enemies to spawn from over there. And it pretty much always guarantees me at least a couple of kills, maybe even will guarantee me a recon plane if I am, smart and don't make any mistakes. Now, coming into this building again, there's a few ways you can run down these stairs to get you to this little long line of sight here. And again, be careful when you're right here because enemies do like to come from the riverbed right there. So you have to keep that in mind. Also, if I'm right here, by opening this up, I can get a line of sight to enemies that are spawning over there as well. And this is honestly a head glitch that I do tend to use from time to time. However, what I will say is that I usually only use this head glitch to get about 1 kill, maybe 2, and then I instantly either run back over to the barn or I come back over this way, because if I do spend too much time here, I will get killed, pretty much no question about it, and I obviously don't like that when that happens. Gotta keep that streak going. So again, but this is also of note as well. Now that that is out of the way, we can go ahead and talk about the most popular area of this entire map, which is this building right here. This is where I would argue that pretty much 85% of the action happens, maybe even more than that, because this is just one of those areas. where, you know, the B flag is right there. If you run through the other side, the C flag is very, very close to over there. And you get a good line of sight to enemies that are coming from C. Maybe that's A and that's C. I don't remember, honestly. But again, either way, it gets you close to that objective that's over there, gets you very, very close to B, and then gets you a view of enemies that are coming from over this area. Now, if I go through this destructible environment, this takes me straight to that little walkway there. I can even walk all the way over here and jump off, which I have seen happen before, which is obvious, which is really, really annoying because, you know, I had an enemy drop down here and then kill me super fast in the back there. Again, for some reason you can't mantle up here like this, so you can only jump off of that, which I guess is kind of on purpose because there is the ladder right there. But again, there's destructible environment here. There's another destructible environment right here, which allows you to get into this spawn point over here. Lets you get into here, or lets you get over to here, which you can also jump over as well. Again, I don't really run through these destructible environments this way. I always run through them this way, if that makes sense. Because running through them this way doesn't really have any, doesn't make any sense to me. I like to run through the destructible environment like this, and then get over here. Now, there are a couple of windows here. There's one there. There is one, there's the doors here, and then there are the windows there. Now, whenever I play this map, these are almost never closed. They're always open because, you know, that's just kind of how Call of Duty players are. We're not really door-heavy players, if that makes any sense. We don't like stuff like this, so it gets destroyed pretty fast, and then it never gets closed up for the rest of the game. But again, these windows don't really have much use. The only window that is of any use is this window right here, because enemies will be right there, so you can take them out. And then back over this way, at this window, I can get a head glitch to enemies that are coming through here. But again, that's pretty much the only window that's useful, because why would I use this window when I can just run through this destructible environment here, or even mantle through this window when I can just run through here without even having to mantle at all. Now, coming up here, this is actually one of the more popular areas of the map, and is one of the more, I guess I would say, more overpowered areas of the map, because what this part of the map does is, number one, it gets you a line of sight to enemies that are coming through that route over there, enemies that are coming up the stairs, enemies that are coming through here, and even enemies that are right there and right there. So this is a very, very useful spot. You can also break this destructible environment and get a whole line of sight to enemies that are there. And honestly, the best way to fight that head glitch over here is to be up here. Unfortunately, you can't mount or anything, but you can go prone, which does reduce the recoil a little bit, so you can take out enemies on that head glitch. And one thing I also discovered is that you can climb on this and then come all the way over here like that. And this is actually kind of a dangerous spot, or a spot that not a lot of people know about. And I've honestly haven't fully used this spot, but I have gotten up here, and you can definitely use this to your advantage. I mean, if I'm up here, I can easily take out enemies that are spawning over there, enemies that are coming across this way, enemies that are up there, and then I can even come back into cover here a little bit and take out enemies that are coming from there. This is a really, really, really good spot. It's very useful. The only downside to it is obviously I'm kind of standing out in the middle of nowhere, so the odds of me doing anything good up here are very, very low. I think you can even jump over to this one, which you can, which is kind of insane. I've never seen anyone do this, but there you go. You can do this if you so wish. This just gives you a line of sight over to that spawn over there as well, and even a whole overview over here. But again, this one is way more risky than this one up here, because with this one, I can kind of play the spawn. So I can come over here, as I said earlier, and then fight enemies that are coming from that spawn. And I can climb over here and take out enemies that are coming from that spawn. So this is a really, really, really good spot. And I honestly am going to start using this a ton of my gameplay whenever I play on this map, because it's just awesome. It's a really, 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 really good spot. Now, coming down the stairs here, we're going to go ahead and head over here, which is another destructible environment right here, which is a way to actually get enemies that are on that head glitch without them really knowing you're there. But again, be careful. If you're running up the stairs and your back is to the spawn, obviously with this destructible environment being destroyed, I'm going to get shot in the back, and that's obviously not a good thing. But if you do know that it's here, you can even mount on here and take out enemies that are right there, which is super useful as well. Now, running through here, this takes you back into this area, which allows you to get to that route right here, which gives you an overview to that spawn over there. And it also lets you get downstairs to go through the tunnel, and then gets you over to that route, over to that route over there, which I will cover here in a second. And one thing I actually forgot to mention as well was this window here. I did cover that over there, but I forgot about this window. This window is really, really useful, especially if you know that enemies are spawning over there by the C objective. I can go ahead and shoot enemies that are coming up the stairs here, shoot enemies that are coming from there, and it's honestly really, really useful. And that's pretty much it for the house. I can also run through here. This is another destructible environment that gives me a line of sight to enemies that are coming through that way. And again, one of the things I recommend doing whenever you play this map is trying to destroy those... What the heck? Trying to destroy these fences over here as much as you can. Because I've had a lot of problems in this map where... you can also head glitch right here. I've had a lot of problems on this map where I'm trying to shoot enemies that are coming through the fences, and I just can't get them. I don't get hit markers. So honestly, whenever you play this map, I recommend destroying these fences as quickly as you can. You can even run here, melee them as fast as you can, because by getting rid of these fences, the map has a little bit more flow. I think they did this on purpose to kind of make these gunfights a little bit more hard and a little bit less head glitchy, but for me, they just kind of affect the map quite a bit, and I just prefer to have them gone because it just makes all of these gunfights easier. And then again, going through this door, this takes me back over to this area. Now that that is all out of the way, though, we can go ahead and talk about this final path of the map here, which is one of the less dense, less popular areas of the map. Starting off here from this spawn point right here. Gotta drink some water because these map guides absolutely kill my voice because I'm constantly talking. You can even probably tell. Starting off here with this route, you can go ahead and head glitch right here. Take out enemies that are walking along or coming along this path. Get enemies that are all the way over there in that room. And then you can also get enemies that are on the roof. If you don't have a weapon that's really good for this for this head glitch spot, this is probably even a good long shot spot, like an AR or an SMG. You can go ahead and run up here, head glitch right here, using this tree as your advantage, as well as come back here and get a line of sight to enemies that are over there. Again, if those fences were there, this would be a much harder gunfight, but you can still do that nonetheless. Then I can also run through the barn where another destructible environment is right here, which is actually a pretty commonly broken one because this gets you to the middle of the map. And now coming back over here, you can also get another head glitch right here, which I do recommend doing pretty much every time you play the map if you want to, because again, it's pretty useful. Again, I can climb up on these hay bales and get into this barn here where I can shoot enemies in the back. Now coming down here, I can use these stairs as a little head glitch area. Again, be careful of the enemies that are up there to get enemies that are at B right there. Again, very useful. And then I can also use these tanks to my advantage, which I did show you guys earlier. You can't actually get behind this tank, but you can come over here to this part of the tank and use it to your advantage. And that is pretty much it. If I come up here, though, I can run through that again, go up the stairs into that building, or I can go all the way over here and get a line of sight to enemies that are spawning there. And then coming back here, I can go ahead and lay prone if I so wish. But again, pretty much the only useful part about this is either getting a flanking route. You can come through here and shoot enemies in the back that are capturing C, or I can just lay by this truck right here and call in a kill streak. But there we go, guys. That is going to do it for an overview of the map Bocage here in this map. Again, I do like this map quite a bit. Honestly, I would say that it's probably in my top 5 maps of this game. I would say number 1 is obviously Eagle's Nest, and then Bocage is probably number 2. Just think it's a really strong map in this game, and feels a lot like an old, either an old Modern Warfare 2 map or an old Sledgehammer Games map back in Call of Duty World War II. So definitely like this map, and I think it's pretty darn awesome. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this next map guide here within the game. These map guides do take a lot of time. I've played each map in the game almost 10 times. I think there's only 2 maps I haven't. And then obviously recording these takes a whole bunch of energy because it takes a lot of talking and a lot of learning of the maps. So hopefully these were able to help you. If they did, a like rating was appreciated. If you want to check out any of my other previous map guide videos, they will all be linked down below in the playlist in the description. Those from previous episodes will be at the end of the video as well. And I'll see you guys all, or I guess I should say hopefully you guys had a happy Thanksgiving yesterday. Just took the day off to spend some time with family and everything like that, because that's obviously something that's super important. And I'll see you guys all on another Call of Duty video very soon.